Hey guys, Draxon here, back again with another dungeon guide, this time with Bardam's Mettle. This dungeon is probably the first dungeon that healers will notice that healing will be getting a little bit harder and tanks will be taking a little bit more damage. Alright, let's get into the first boss, Gorilla. Engage as normal. Within the first few moments, the boss will use Heave, which will put a triangle cone in front of the boss where the tank is, which can be easily moved out of for the tank. All DPS healers should not be in front of the boss, so for them, it should be not an issue. After, he will use Crumbling Crust, which will put AoE circles out, move and avoid them. Right after, he will go into Rush, which will target one person with a large rectangular telegraph and a tether. All you need to do is run to the wall that's furthest away from him, which will minimize damage taken. After he rushes the target, he will shout, startle the animals around him, which will make them panic. The boss then will stomp the ground, stunning everyone. The animals around him will target party members and rush towards them. You have a few moments for the stun to wear off and move out of the telegraphs. Right after, he will use Heave again, avoid being in the front. After, he will use Crumbling Crust again, avoid. Then he'll cast Heave, so make sure that DPS and healers are not in front of him. Tank can easily just avoid. Then the boss will use Crumbling Crust again. Avoid the circles. After the circles have gone out, the boss will target someone with Rush again. Just run to the furthest wall from the boss. Once the boss has rushed the party member, he will shout, startle the animals against that wall. After he's shouted, he will stomp the ground, stunning everybody. Then the animals will target party members with telegraphs. After a few moments, the stun will wear off and you can avoid the telegraphs fairly easy. Then he'll go into a Heave, just avoid and make sure DPS healers aren't standing in the front and the tank just walks out of it. Then the boss will cast Crumbling Crust again. Just avoid the circles as normal. Now the boss will just rotate between Heave and Crumbling Crust. One other thing, if you were to point a Rush towards a wall that had the Curo, when he gets to the wall and starts the Curo will come out and he will cast a large AoE cone across the whole map. So the easiest thing to do with that is to make sure that when the Curo comes out, you stay close to him so that when he casts his move, you can easily just walk behind him. Otherwise, that's pretty much it. You should have him dead before this last Rush. If not, just run to the furthest wall and just avoid the mechanics. And congratulations. Alright, the second boss, Bardam. Now this isn't your conventional boss in which you kill. You beat him by avoiding mechanics in 3 waves. You get 2 lives per wave, and only one person has to survive each wave, and every wave resets your life counters. The first wave, he will summon a golem in the middle of the room. You can't do any damage to him, he just adds telegraphs to avoid. First, he'll suck everyone in the middle, then he'll start casting Empty Gaze, which means you have to be facing away from him by the time it goes off. He will cast an AoE circle, walk out of the circle, then he will cast another outer ring, just walk back into the center, and then turn away to avoid Empty Gaze. Then he'll cast a checkerboard on the ground. Stand off the blue areas, and he will cast it again, just avoid the blue areas. And then the second checker, he will start casting Empty Gaze, and again another checkerboard. To avoid the gaze, make sure you run up on the third checkerboard, so that when the fourth one comes out, you walk away from the boss, avoiding the blue checkers, and be already turned around for the Empty Gaze. And that's the first phase. The second phase will start with 3 pillars. Just make sure that there's one person at least in each pillar, so there'll be 2 people in one and 1 in the other ones. Then, 2 party members will get balls above their heads. They should stack, and the other 2 players just have to avoid the outer rings that are around them. Then the boss will put red arrows above all party members. After a short moment, they'll disappear, and AoEs will start raining down from the sky on them. Just avoid the red AoE circles and try not to walk into other party members' areas so that they don't stack and you don't kill each other. After that, the monster in the middle will cast Heavy Strike, which will put 3 large AoEs that go in a semicircle. Just avoid by running behind them. After a short moment, 4 large ground AoEs will spawn, then after that 4 meters will drop. and then that's the second phase. On to the third. First, he will spawn a looming shadow, which will leave a large meteor slowly dropping on top of it. It's something to avoid later. Then he will always smash the 2 rocks that are on the flanks of the ad in the middle. Avoid those areas. Then the checkerboard comes back. Avoid the blue. Then right after, he'll suck everyone in the center, which will cause 2 things to happen. The smaller golems will start to cast large semicircles, and the middle golem will start casting the outer ring AoE. Do not do what I did and avoid the telegraphs by standing right before the outer circle starts, then wait for the outer circle to go off, then walk off, wait for the semicircles to go off, then walk in as they go off. Right after, there'll be 1 more rock left and the meteor will be almost touching the ground. Quickly run behind the last rock and avoid the meteor hit. And that's it. Second boss is done. Now on to the third boss, Yol. Engage the boss as normal. The first mechanic is called Wind Unbound, which will do AoE damage to the party and put air balls on the outer edge of the map. Then, he will go right into Flutterfall, which will make the air balls cast lines across the map and will put red markers on everyone. Just avoid the lines and stay spread out, because after the lines go out, the red marker will disappear and rain feathers on each other. So staying apart will keep the feathers from overlapping onto other party members and doing extra damage. He again will go into another Flutterfall, avoid the lines, stay spread apart from each other, and then after, he will cast Wind Unbound, doing more AoE damage to the party, summoning more air balls along the edge of the circle. But when the blue lines come out, he will start casting Eye of the Fierce. Just avoid the lines and make sure you're facing away from the boss before the Eye of the Fierce goes off. If not, you will become confused and start attacking your party members. After that, more lines will come out, just avoid. Then he'll cast Wind Unbound 1 more time, summoning balls along the edge of the map, but this time he's going to fly up and an ad will spawn. Everyone is going to need to switch that ad while also avoiding the blue lines. After a short period of time, the boss will fly back down from the outer edge of the ring and he'll stand there, and after a short moment he'll fly across the map in the direction that he's facing. Just don't stand where he's going to be flying across the map to avoid the damage. Then just kill the ad. After the first ad's dead, you go to the second ad, just to keep on avoiding the blue lines, and again, after a short period of time, the boss will fly back down from the edge of the map, and he'll fly across the map doing damage in the direction that he's facing. Just avoid. After that second ad's dead, the boss will return to the center of the map. Tanks just pick it up as normal. After a short period of time, the boss will use Wind Unbound again, which will do AoE damage to the party and some more wind balls. Then he'll cast Flutterfall again, avoid the blue lines and spread out for the falling feathers. After a short moment, he'll cast Flutterfall again, just spread out and avoid the blue AoE lines. The boss will just keep on repeating his mechanics until he gets down to 10%. Once at 10%, he will fly up and come back down. When he comes back down, you'll be able to DPS his wings. If you have a caster, this is when you want to use LB to pretty much skip this phase. If not, save LB, kill the wings while avoiding the edge of the map. He will also cast AoE circles around 2 party members, making the safe spot smaller. Once the wings are dead, use LB if you didn't have a caster for that phase. If you did have a caster for the wing phase, once the wings are dead, just kill off the last 10%. You should have them dead before any of the mechanics come out. And if you didn't have a caster for the wing phase, this is when you'd use the melee LB just to kill the boss right now. And that's it. All 3 bosses in this dungeon complete. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up and leave a comment if you want to see a certain dungeon guide made in the future. Thanks for watching my guide, and I'll talk to you guys later.